This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Attack thwarted. Police stop an alleged plot by two teens to launch simultaneous attacks on schools in Nova Scotia and Manitoba.
Fire ready. Nova Scotia ramps up tech and equipment as a high-stakes wildfire season begins.
And imagination rules. Halifax students trade textbooks for dice to master the creative world of Dungeons and Dragons.
A quiet couple of days shaping up, but cooler temperatures as we ride the freezing mark for Thursday. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. A Nova Scotia teen is facing murder, conspiracy, and threat charges for allegedly planning what police are calling a violent attack on a Bridgewater school.
The threats were made online and while chatting with another teen in Manitoba. Police say the 15-year-old from Bridgewater talked about wanting to mount the attack on students at Parkview Education Centre. Interpol and the FBI alerted the Bridgewater Police Service last Friday. Police allege both Canadian teens plan to conduct a simultaneous attacks at schools in each province.
Police say the attacks were not believed to be imminent, but that some thought and planning went into the idea. Officers searched a home in Bridgewater and found handwritten plans, imitation weapons, a roughly made imitation pipe bomb and assault rifle, and clothing with hate symbols. Both teens were arrested this week. The incident has members of the community shaken.
I woke up this morning and opened up my Facebook page, which is usually my quiet time while I'm having coffee, and everyone was sharing it. Everyone was talking about it. Every parent, even people that are not parents. That's a very scary situation to think what could have happened. So thank goodness for the police.
The Bridgewater teen has been charged with conspiracy to commit murder and uttering threats to cause death.
An accessible washroom along a trail on the Eastern Shore was targeted with anti-Semitic vandalism recently. Vandals spray painted the toilet and walls and left printouts with anti-Semitic memes and Jewish symbols on the floor of this washroom along the Gatesbrook Greenway. The volunteer society that manages the trail tells CBC the vandalism happened sometime on March 12th or 13th. The society reported the incident to the RCMP, which is now investigating.
Membertou First Nation wants the provincial government to butt out of cannabis sales on their land. Chief and council passed a resolution saying the province has no right to carry out raids or inspections on reserve land and have gone as far as banning the RCMP. Kyle Moore has that story.
No matter where you look, signs for cannabis sales are everywhere in Membertou. The band says it has an inherent right to trade in any commercial product and is working on its own cannabis law and regulations. But the province says unregulated cannabis sales are illegal and have cracked down and confiscated product on reserve land across the province. The response from Membertou First Nation passing a resolution banning the RCMP and tobacco officers.
Disheartening because that indicates to us that our rights are not being recognized.
Chief Terry Paul is concerned officers will come into his community next and begin enforcement of the cannabis law.
I hope it's not the calm before the storm, but we're prepared to take this as far as we have to.
The RCMP have carried out raids on cannabis outlets in Waikagama and Escalation and say several outlets in Budladek and elsewhere were closed as a result of previous enforcement efforts.
The illegal cannabis storefronts that are around the province have products that are unregulated and potentially unsafe.
The Mounties say they have no jurisdiction here in Membertou because Membertou has a policing contract with the Cape Breton Regional Police. A spokesperson for Regional Police says they will be enforcing the provincial cannabis law.
Really, this is pretty new territory for the courts to have to deal with. The issue and the debate has been around for a long time, and this particular kind of issue is forcing that to a head.
Wayne McKay, a retired Dalhousie University law professor, says there's no clear answer on whether Membertou can keep the police from enforcing the cannabis law because the Constitution recognizes and affirms Indigenous rights.
If they are correct in their interpretation, then and they're simply acting on that, then they do have a right to do what they're doing. It just hasn't been officially recognized and affirmed at the court level yet.
McKay says the issue will probably have to go to the Supreme Court of Canada for ruling, which could take years. Kyle Moore, CBC News, Membertou.
Wildfire season has started in Nova Scotia and preparations at natural resources are well underway. The CBC's Ali Thompson visited the department headquarters to find out what's new this year and what Nova Scotians can expect from this fire season.
Nova Scotians have been on high alert since wildfires burned through thousands of hectares in 2023. So how risky is this season looking? The short answer, it really depends. Weather plays a big role here. Even though Nova Scotia saw a lot of snow over the winter, if the ground is still frozen when it melts, it won't all get absorbed. And brooks, streams, and rivers remain low from last year's drought.
We always say here, if we could get an inch of rain every week through the fire season, that would be just wonderful for us. So we have to play it by ear and be ready for whatever comes.
Inside the Provincial Wildlife Centre, staff track 31 weather stations across the province to help determine how dry conditions are and setting burn restrictions. It's also the central command center for when wildfires do break out, taking calls from emergency dispatchers, mobilizing crews, and tracking the progress of firefighters battling the blazes. 4 brand new water bomber helicopters were announced in 2023 and came with a price tag of $26 million, split evenly between the province and the federal government. They fully replaced the current fleet, one of which crashed last year during the West Dalhousie wildfire. And these helicopters aren't just for fighting fires.
They help with agencies in locating missing people. They actually check on our Crown lands. They check on wildlife populations. They do whatever they're called upon to do.
At the end of every season, crews take stock of the equipment. What can be fixed? What needs to be replaced? There's more than 300 new pumps here. All of the new equipment will be tested before being dispersed to the 25 natural resources offices around the province.
So these are the pumps that crews can set up, in a pond or a lake or in a little brook or things like that, any suitable water source, and they can pump water, those remote water sources to put on the fire. They're lighter weight, so they're easier on the firefighters. They're easier to use. They've been modernized significantly.
Make no mistake, one of the biggest risks during wildfire season is you. Most wildfires are caused by people, so it's important to follow the burn restriction map. But experts are also encouraging Nova Scotians to be fire smart. This program sets out ways you can reduce the wildfire risk around your home and in your community.
You want to have the least amount of combustible material the closer and closer you get to your home. So you can do things like, simple things like keeping the grass mowed, not having, combustibles, like examples would be like bark mulch right up to the edge of your home, keeping a barrier between that and your home.
Wildfire season runs from March 15th to October 15th. Ali Thompson, CBC News, Shubenacadie.
And that segues nicely into our first weather hit. Here's Ryan Snoddon.
Yes, Ryan, you've been adding up the rainfall totals.
Yeah, a good start. Obviously we would have preferred this rain to fall after the snow had melted and the frost had come out of the ground. Some of this hopefully absorbed into the ground. I know the river's pretty swollen, some of them given so much runoff and not as much absorption into the ground, but this is a pretty good shot, no question. Looking at totals upwards of 50 to even 80 millimeters in around the southwest of the province and a little less up towards Cobequid Bay area, but Truro did pretty good and even up into the Cape Breton region. So we'll take a few more of those for sure throughout the spring season, especially once the frost comes out to hopefully we replenish things. Tomorrow, much quieter. We've got a few flurry chances in through the west and southwest of the province tomorrow, as well as Cape Breton. The winds are going to be relatively light. Temperatures right near the freezing mark. We are watching a couple of systems off to the west, including one that may bring a few flakes into the mix on Saturday before a change over to showers. We'll talk about that coming up.
All right,
okay.
Chat in a few minutes.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Ryan.
Thank you.
A proposed toll booth near the Nova Scotia-New Brunswick border in Allac is not sitting well with some Nova Scotians. The CBC's Caitlin Beliveau explains.
The province wants to set up a new toll booth in Aulac near the Nova Scotia border by 2028. It's one of the ways the government plans to grow revenue as part of the latest provincial budget. And it's drivers from outside New Brunswick who are going to be paying up.
I don't believe that they possibly went the right way about announcing it. There was no warning whatsoever. So it's in Cumberland County, it's going to be an uproar for a while.
I would say within the hour of this being announced, I started receiving emails from people, businessmen that travel to work in Moncton daily.
We do live in a border town, and I also have friends and family in New Brunswick, and so I do travel like 3 or 4 times a week across the border.
Finance Minister Renee Legacy said the new toll will likely cost around $4, like the Cobequid Pass in Nova Scotia, and it'll bring in more than $10 million a year to maintain roads and bridges.
Trucking is vital to this region. Just between Nova Scotia and New Brunswick alone, that stretch of highway where we are going to see toll booths, apparently. We estimate there's about a million commercial vehicles a year travel through there, over 2,500 a day, moving over $100 billion worth of goods. We've seen significant efforts by other provinces and the federal government to reduce tolls in this region and ferry rates and so on to create less trade barriers or to remove trade barriers. So again, this is just counterintuitive to that.
Our premiers need to do the work and get those issues resolved, and the people of Cumberland County and surrounding region don't need to be used as their pawns.
Halifax is canceling plans to open a sobering centre after struggling to find a landlord. But staff at similar facilities across Canada say places are crucial to addressing homelessness and addiction.
Recovery programs, and long term, that's our therapeutic recovery community. We have a kind of a 2-year minimum stay. So based on that, you have a much greater chance of making a major change in somebody's life.
Halifax says moving forward, it's going to help people struggling with addiction with services like its crisis assistance and response team.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons clubs are popping up around Halifax, popular among youth.
Juliana Grillo stopped by one of those clubs to check it out.
We're going to roll up a bluff roll.
A powerful group of warriors roll the dice as they wait for their appetizers when suddenly they hear trouble.
You guys hear from across the restaurant someone slamming their hands on the table, insisting that of course they paid the bill. Of course I paid the bill.
Of course, they are role-playing. This group of 10-year-old girls from St. Joseph Alexander McKay Elementary are trying their luck at Dungeons & Dragons, or D&D for short. What is D&D, you ask?
It is a imagination game about exploring the world you're in, fighting off bad things, and learning about the group you're playing with. There's a dungeon master who gives them obstacles and fights to do. We finished a fight with a crocodile. That was our first fight.
Crocodile, a mix between a crocodile and a deer. This and other fantastical creatures live in the world these kids have created, where magic is real, dragons exist, dungeons are explored, and math matters to win the game.
You're doing math quickly on the fly, and you're learning the creative part there. There is a lot of storytelling.
This is organized by Rachel Carter from the Deck Box, a game store in downtown Halifax. She wished a club like this had existed when she was in school.
These games build confidence and build connections in community in places and with groups of kids that don't necessarily find community or aren't interested in things like sports and whatnot.
Carter's store provides all the materials for free and helps teach kids at different schools the rules for a few weeks. When they master the basics, she lets them run wild by themselves and their imaginations.
We're learning creativity and how to be adventurous and just have fun.
These 7 girls will meet again in a week during lunchtime, and together they will slay another enemy. Juliana Grillo, CBC News, Halifax.
It's beautiful Peggy's Cove, but Ryan's forecast is coming up after the break.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, as promised, Ryan back with us now, and yeah, it's been a little calm. Or looks like
Are
it's
you
going to be
allowed to
calm
say that?
in
Does
the
that
weather
jinx
center.
anything?
Yeah, you're jinxing it. You're jinxing it. Yeah, it's going to be a nice, quieter couple of days as we welcome spring in on Friday, and then we're looking at perhaps a wintry mix again on Saturday and Sunday night into Monday. It's
Doesn't sound like it's
all
going to be that
Tom's
bad.
fault.
Yeah. Trying to put the better look on things.
It's
you know?
true. It's true. And it was at least bright today,
Yeah.
which was nice, but boy, was it so much cooler. A shock to the system, for sure. Have a look at our webcam video from this evening, live shot from Bedeck. And beautiful Cape Breton, the sun shining there. The clouds have been building in elsewhere, and we're going to continue to see just a kind of a partly cloudy night tonight. But yeah, in terms of those temperatures, this is the difference between this afternoon and yesterday afternoon, around 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon. This is, I mean, just a huge change. 15 to 20 degrees cooler across a good chunk of the province, a little less down toward the southwest. But boy, oh boy, was it so much cooler. And there are those afternoon temperatures. You can see we did get to around the freezing mark in the southwest, but yeah, -4 to -5, and through the northeast, it was cool. And you factor in the winds. The temperature's not far from those marks right now. And we look at the winds. After that very, very gusty event, we are looking at winds that have backed off, still sustained around 20 kilometers per hour for many out there this evening. Some gusts in the 30 to 40 kilometer per hour range. Mother Nature going to turn the dial down even a little bit further on those winds tonight and into tomorrow as well. Weather systems map, that front should actually be right there. For some reason, it didn't stick when I put that on there earlier, wanted to jump back, but anyway, there's the frontal boundary there. And as we look out west, we are watching this next system that's going to be moving in. 18 in Calgary, 11 in Edmonton right now. So you can see this little push of warm air that's surging in ahead of this next system that is going to be, for the most part, tracking off to our north. Won't really be impacting us a whole lot as it moves into the region for spring and the start of spring. Temperatures tonight, -7 to -10. Winds are going to be light tonight. We'll see right around -7 to -8 for Cape Breton. Note the clouds certainly in the mix through this evening, and then becoming partly cloudy to even mostly clear again for tomorrow morning. In terms of the sunshine on Thursday, the brighter skies will be in the morning, and then we're watching the clouds to increase into the afternoon again. And note the east to southeast flow. It's going to be light, 10, 15 generally, but we are looking at that to be in from the water tomorrow. That will also spark up the chance for some flurries, Halifax to Kentville and west of that line. And then also, even though this model's not showing it, there is a chance for some flurries blowing in for you folks in Cape Breton as well. It's an isolated risk, but we're going to mention it. Those light winds tomorrow, -1 to -3. We'll see right around 0 to 1, even -2 to +1, I should say, for eastern parts of the mainland. And then back into the central areas, we'll see temperatures here right around 0 to 1 on the plus side as well. And that chance for flurries again, central and western areas tomorrow with those light winds. Could see temperatures as mild as 2 in places like Digby for tomorrow. Friday, temperatures ranging between 3 and 5, even 6 degrees. The wind shifting back to southwesterly. And that is, as this next system comes in, we've got the southwesterly flow into the warm sector of this system. Some increase in clouds for Nova Scotia, but it looks like any flurry activity will be too far to the north to impact us. So we're building the clouds in for Friday night. Saturday, this system that has been on again, off again over the last few days, if you've been keeping tabs, it is on again. But I will say this, it looks like we'll see some very light snowfall, primarily across northern parts of the province, and then a change over to rain. This is looking less impactful than last Saturday, which of course was pretty nasty for a couple of hours. This one looking like a quicker change to rain, less accumulation. And then this system holding hands with another system, that's looking set to track in Sunday night and into Monday, maybe. Forecast models have been all over the map with that one, even more so than Saturday. The equivalent of throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. And so Sunday, Monday, maybe something, but tons of uncertainty at this point.
Okay.
We don't know yet. All right.
Stay tuned for that. All right. Thanks,
you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Some seafood producers on Prince Edward Island had very different experiences at this year's annual expo in Boston.
Those in the lobster industry celebrated the removal of Chinese tariffs and interest from new markets, while oyster producers did damage control as they struggle with the ongoing effect of the MSX and dermo diseases. Nancy Russell reports.
People in PEI's lobster industry are feeling optimistic after this year's Seafood Expo in Boston. It's the largest seafood trade show in North America. About 20 island companies took part in the 3-day event, along with Lobster PEI. It's the marketing board for the island's lobster industry.
There's a lot of new traffic that from countries that we don't normally deal a lot with, a lot of European countries, and now with the China dropping the tariffs on us, that that's helping a lot.
The United States is the biggest export market for PEI lobster, but China had been number 2. The tariffs on lobster were dropped there as of March 1st. Charlie McGagan says China is also looking for a new supply of lobsters because of problems in Vietnam.
In December, there was a big hurricane in Vietnam, and it wiped out almost all of their farmed lobster hatchery pens and stuff. So that basically eliminated that supply.
It was a very different experience for oyster growers from PEI. The industry is struggling with the impact of 2 diseases, MSX and dermo. They aren't dangerous for humans, but can kill oysters.
So some of the Christmas rush of oysters that we sent out had issues with them. So between the time we would pack them and the time our customer received them, there's mortality in the box. So a lot of what we were doing this year, spending a lot of time explaining the situation about what's happening in Prince Edward Island.
Power says it was important to be at the show to do damage control.
We have intentions of working towards resistant seed so that we can have resistant oysters, and that is our game plan. So we may have a couple of tough years, but we're going to be here in the long run.
Now that the expo is over, PEI's seafood producers will focus on getting ready for the season ahead. The lobster industry with high hopes for sales to China, an anxious time for many in the island oyster industry, uncertain of what awaits them. Nancy Russell, CBC News, Charlottetown.
Coming up, Cape Breton University's chancellor steps down after more than 20 years at the school. After more than 2 decades in the post, Annette Verschuren has stepped down as Cape Breton University's chancellor. CBU says she was the longest-serving university chancellor in Canadian history. And Annette Verschuren joins us now. So why was it the right time to pass the torch to someone else?
Well, normally chancellor's terms are about 5 years. So, every time there's a change of leadership, the presidents would ask me to stay. But I really, for me, what was really important was to give back to my community. And the university is a really important part of Cape Breton's past and its future. And, education relates to economic development and social strength. And so to me, it was a real honor to be able to do this for 21 years, but it really, it was time to pass the baton and to have another great leader, Jack Graham, pass it too.
Now, do you have any words of advice for him? He takes over May 1st.
Yeah, well, he's got tough high heels to fit into. Let me tell you, and I tell him that. But I've known Jack for a number of years now, and he's going to make a terrific chancellor. I think that thrill of graduating and giving certificates and degrees to university students is just a great thrill and a big responsibility of that job. But no, he will be a very good chancellor, a great chancellor, as a matter of fact, and he lived for quite some time in Cape Breton, and he's a real caper. And so I think it's very exciting to have he and Michelle be part of passing the baton.
Now, universities, of course, are feeling the pinch these days, in part because of the capping of international students. CBU is forecasting a $77 million loss in revenue over the next 3 years. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, how much will that change what kind of education the school can offer students in the future?
Look, I think what's been during my years as chancellor of the university, the programming has strengthened, right? And now we have a medical campus. We have a very strong nursing program. We have developed a great Unama'ki College with programs in community development and other science and technology programs strengthening. So I think it'll be a greater focus, right, on making sure that what is being provided is what the market's asking for. And the thing I've always loved about the university, yes, it grew quickly, but it didn't grow it grew smartly in terms of costs. Yes, David will have challenges in terms of managing all of that, but it's that little university that could, right? And it can, and it will respond and adjust. And I've seen that in my 21 years, and it will be, what's encouraging. I think last year we've had the most students from Cape Breton and Nova Scotia in its history. So, we will survive and I think strengthen and focus the position and the future. It is a university that has a rural orientation, and I love that about it. And I think that strength will differentiate it from some of the larger universities in metropolitan areas. And so that strength is going to be really important for the future of our country.
Well, you grew up on a dairy farm in Cape Breton, obviously have a long history on the island. What do you see, or at least hope, for the future of Cape Breton as a whole?
Look, I had my first job when I left, when I graduated from St. F.X. with my business degree, was working to develop jobs, at Devco, right? The coal miners were losing their jobs, and we're trying to find alternatives. So to me, I just see great opportunity in Cape Breton. I see great opportunity in the tourism industry. I see great opportunity in the resources industry. The strength of our fishing industry continues to grow. I think that there's opportunity in biorefining and fermentation, some of the things that are happening at the Verschuren Center. There's a very strong small and medium-sized business community in Cape Breton. And you know what? the kids are staying. The locals are staying. When I left Cape Breton, there were, I was 30 when I left. I was later. I tried to hang on as long as I could, but they're staying now because they're realizing this is a great place to live, a great place to bring up your family, a great place to enjoy. And there's magic on that island, and a big part of the focus and the culture of it emanates from the university and all that it offers.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck in your next chapter. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy.
Coming up, Iran threatens to strike oil infrastructures and targets more areas in Israel.
And Trump intelligence officials answer questions about the conflict in Iran at a Senate committee hearing. Welcome back. Iran is threatening retaliation after an Israeli attack on its South Pars gas field.
It is the world's largest natural gas field, which is shared by both Qatar and Iran.
Iranian state media says its workers were moved to safety and crews were trying to contain the fire. Tehran says it now considers oil and gas facilities across Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar as legitimate targets.
Meanwhile, Iran also confirmed the country's intelligence minister was killed in an airstrike. It comes a day after 2 other top Iranian officials were killed.
Iran continues to launch attacks on Israel, striking multiple targets. 2 elderly people died after one missile hit an area east of Tel Aviv. Another struck a nearby residential building. Officials say no one was hurt because residents managed to get to the bomb shelter in time. The CBC's Crystal Gamansing reports from the scene.
This is the building inside the compound where a part of that Iranian missile came down. Emergency services explain that it came in at an angle, hitting the ground and then taking out a big chunk of the apartment. There were people in the complex, but they were all sheltering. One of those individuals who just lives across from this apartment told me that at the moment that that impact happened, she heard a loud explosion. She described a really strong smell, and then, of course, a debris field.
Because it was just a piece of the ballistic missile, it didn't shake the building the way that some direct impacts of like one solid missile have shaken the building in the past.
This is one site where officials are saying potentially cluster munitions are being used. These are an incredibly challenging type of munition. It is a warhead that's packed with other smaller bombs, and even if they intercept the main munition that is coming in, the smaller bits inside bust open and cause a wider debris field. IDF officials are also saying that strikes in these residential type of areas are war crimes. They're saying it's war crimes because it's residential, but also because they're using these controversial cluster munitions. Now, whether or not they are controversial is really depending on the type of country. Not every country has signed on to the cluster munitions ban. We know that Israel has not, Iran has not, and the United States has not signed on to that ban. So if they are using cluster munitions in their strikes against Israel, it may not be against a wider ban that we see that other countries have agreed to. We have asked if Israel is also using these types of munitions. We have not heard back on that. However, there are all multiple scenes, just like this one, that are leading to a lot of stress, anxiety, and fear for residents. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Ramat Gan, Israel.
Israel has more than doubled its troops along the border with Lebanon since the start of the month. This happening as Israel stepped up airstrikes in and around the capital, Beirut. The CBC's Susan Ormiston reports from one of the locations that was hit.
Overnight, 4 Israeli airstrikes hit central Beirut, killing 12 people and injuring dozens more. One of them hit here in the Bashura neighborhood. What's interesting about this spot is this is the second time an Israeli missile has targeted this area. The first time it was last Thursday on a building which is claimed that Hezbollah is storing millions of dollars of cash and gold underneath that building. It hit the building but didn't bring it down. It was still standing when we were here last week. This is what it looked like just a few days ago. Kids were walking amongst the remains of that building. There were families living just behind the building. As you can see, it's now completely demolished, fully collapsed, as if to bury whatever was underneath this building. When we got here, there was a man carrying a Hezbollah flag up to the top of this pile of rubble. You can see him planting it there, an obvious statement to Israel. The attacks last night were some of the worst in central Beirut in decades. Israel says the wave of attacks was in response to Hezbollah rockets, 100 of them, and drones flying from Lebanon into Israel late yesterday. So what we're seeing here is now daily attacks on both sides. All this as the IDF is reportedly preparing for a possible ground invasion, a full-scale invasion into southern Lebanon, in spite of immense pressure internationally, including from Canada, to try to find a negotiated solution instead of escalating this war. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Beirut.
Donald Trump's top intelligence officials faced tough questions from U.S. lawmakers about the Iran war. They testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee about what they knew before the U.S. launched its attacks on Iran and whether Tehran posed an immediate threat. Chris Reyes has the latest from New York.
CIA Director John Ratcliffe, National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, and other intelligence officials went before a Senate committee hearing this morning. They faced questions on Iran, starting with the threats it posed on the U.S.
Iran and its proxies continued to attack U.S. and allied interests in the Middle East. Prior to Operation Epic Fury, the IC assesses Iran was trying to recover from the severe damage to its nuclear infrastructure sustained during the 12-day war and continued to refuse to comply with its nuclear obligations with the IAEA, refusing them access to key facilities.
If left unimpeded, yes, Senator, they would have the ability to range missiles to the continental U.S. It's one of the reasons why degrading Iran's missile production capabilities that is taking place right now in Operation Epic Fury is so important to our national security.
The hearing is held annually and meant to brief the American public on worldwide threats facing the U.S. This year's hearing is notable because it's the first time that top Trump officials are testifying before Congress on the decision to attack Iran.
It was very clear that Iran, while they were talking, they had no intentions of following through diplomatically with eliminating any of their nuclear aspirations, correct?
You've characterized it right. Diplomatically, they were saying one thing. The intelligence was reflecting quite the contrary.
On the Strait of Hormuz, there was a tense exchange between Democratic Senator John Ossoff and Director Gabbard. Ossoff accused her of evading the question on the intelligence that led Trump to conclude there was an imminent threat.
You're here to be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
Exactly what I'm doing.
No, you're evading a question because to provide a candid response to the committee would contradict a statement from the White House.
Both Ratcliffe and Gabbard in their testimony shared that the United States faces multiple potential threats, not just from Iran, but from Russia, China, North Korea, and Pakistan, all of whom they say have been assessed by the U.S. intelligence community to be either researching or developing weapons that could reach the U.S. mainland. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
About 80% of all the oil and gas shipped through the Strait of Hormuz is bound for Asia, but the vital waterway remains essentially closed by Iran. The International Energy Agency has called it the largest oil supply disruption in history. Salima Shivji looks at how some countries in South Asia are coping with the shortage.
The pain of gas shortages because of the war is hitting so many countries in Asia. In Sri Lanka, a country that has dealt with a deep cut in supply before, when it was near financial ruin 4 years ago, it's deja vu. Long lines outside gas stations as the country rations its gas, and people are left wondering why. I've been queuing since 4:30 this morning, this tuk-tuk driver says. I have no idea if my children have eaten or not. Others started this war, but we're the ones suffering, says fellow tuk-tuk driver Samuel Paris. It's hard to make a living. Most countries in South Asia, which import nearly all of their oil and gas, have warned they only have enough in reserve to keep the lights on for a few more weeks. So there's rationing and a change in schedule. Sri Lanka has moved to a 4-day work week for government offices and schools, as has Pakistan, where authorities have raised the price of fuel. Bangladesh closed its universities early for the Eid holiday, and they're doing rotating blackouts to save power. Vietnam is encouraging people to work from home, and in Thailand, the government is asking those workers who are still going in to take the stairs instead of elevators and to ditch their suits and wear short sleeves so that they can turn down the air conditioning and save as much as they can. Here in India, there's a shortage of cooking oil and reports of hoarding, so some restaurants are switching to wood-fired stoves, and some are even forced to close. The country gets much of its liquefied petroleum gas from the Middle East, but there is some relief secured over the weekend.
So Nanda Devi vessel has just arrived at early morning today at 2:30 a.m. and it has come with a
parcel size of 46,500 metric tons of LPG.
It's one of a handful of Indian-flagged vessels that got through the Strait of Hormuz after direct talks with Iran, a country that India has always had friendly relations with. India's foreign minister is calling those talks, which yielded results, a win for diplomacy, even if there are still more than 20 tankers bound for India stalled in the strait and going nowhere. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Mumbai.
The Bank of Canada has decided to hold its benchmark interest rate steady at 2.25% for the third time in a row. But the bank's governor says that could all change for reasons beyond Canada's control.
The Canadian economy continues to face heightened uncertainty related to U.S. trade policy and geopolitical risks. Now the war in Iran has added a new layer of uncertainty. Its impact on the global and Canadian economies will depend on how long the conflict lasts and the extent to which it spreads across the Middle East.
While inflation has remained close to the central bank's 2% target for more than a year now, if a prolonged war keeps energy prices high and in turn raises inflation, Macklem suggested that the bank may raise its benchmark interest rate. The Bank of Canada's next decision is at the end of April.
Illegal firearms are a significant problem in this country, and that's not just in big cities like Toronto and Montreal. They're showing up in other places as well. Ariana Kelland has the details on recent increase in illicit guns in Newfoundland and Labrador.
St. John's is under a blanket of snow now, but last spring when it began to melt, a group of children were playing in the woods behind their homes. On the ground, a dangerous discovery.
They came home and said that they found a gun. We're in disbelief. We didn't believe it.
But it was real, a loaded 9mm handgun. We aren't identifying the families involved for their safety.
To realize that doing something so simple could hurt one of them severely or, God forbid, kill one of them was a really scary thought.
Data obtained by CBC News shows the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary and RCMP are seizing more guns than ever before.
In the run of a week or the run of a month, I'm seeing more handguns now than I ever would have within the last couple of years that I've been in this position.
In the last 6 years, just over 1,000 guns were sent from this province for tracing. Data from 2024 shows the vast majority are domestically sourced, coming from within the country. Others are smuggled from abroad. A large number cannot be conclusively traced.
Because the other thing then that comes into my mind is if they've purchased one gun, how many other guns have they purchased?
And sooner or later, somebody's going to get hurt.
Inspector David Emberley is head of the RCMP's organized crime unit in the province. He says violence amongst drug traffickers has increased.
When we execute a search warrant, we almost always find firearms, and it's not a hunting rifle. It's usually a pistol or an assault rifle or a tactical shotgun, and it's commonplace now.
This firearm here, this would have been the model that was found in Shea Heights.
As for this gun, law enforcement agencies traced it back to Georgia, a state with some of the weakest gun laws in the United States. How it got from there to a wooded area thousands of kilometers away in Newfoundland and into the hands of young children remains a mystery. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, beautiful shot there of Peggy's Cove earlier in the show. Yeah. Oh boy, it's so pretty, this province. Makes you curious what Ryan might have up his sleeve tonight.
Where are I mean, first of all, I don't think it's going to be a snow picture unless it's a couple days
old.
old.
Although there's some, I believe there's some ice in this shot.
Okay.
I'll have to look closer, but have a look. We're going to zoom in on, yes, a beautiful spot. I know this is a popular spot in the summertime, Falls River, but why not the wintertime there? Yeah, there's some ice there.
Yeah.
Sure is, yeah.
Hanging in there.
And note the trees underwater. With
yeah, of course. Look at
all that recent rain. The lakes, the rivers are a bit swollen right now, which is hopefully good. Hopefully some of this is going to get down into the water table, despite still some frost in the ground and some ice on the lakes. We want this to all be absorbed. And as we look at the outlook for tonight, mainly cloudy, then back to, I think, a pretty sunny start to Thursday morning, but the clouds will build in once more. And I think overall we'll call tomorrow kind of a cloudy with sunny periods type day. The best chance for some of that sun will be in the morning. There's a chance for flurries in the southwest and up into the metro area as well, and into Cape Breton. Temperatures tomorrow will range from around +1 to about -3 for tomorrow. Friday, a little bit milder, a little brighter as well. Some sunshine in the morning, increasing clouds into the afternoon. Temperatures set to range between 3 and 5 degrees across the mainland. A little bit cooler in Cape Breton as the winds become southwesterly ahead of that incoming system, which will spark some flurries for Cape Breton. We are going to be looking at this next system stretching in for Saturday. Some light, wet snowfall on the leading edge. Let's drive over it, though, with some changes to showers and drizzle into the afternoon, and keeping an eye on Sunday night into Monday.
Okay, drive over it. We're okay with that. Stop monkeying around or the big bad bear is going to get you. If that sounds barely believable, watch this. Okay, it's clearly just a man in a bad costume with a long tail, but scary lies in the eyes of the beholder, I guess.
In this case, a troop of monkeys causing nuisance for these villagers in northern India. The animals have been raiding homes, damaging crops. The bear costume seems to be working for now, but forest officials say such measures only offer temporary relief.
And all they often do is drive the monkeys from one area to other villages or farms.
So we need another costume,
a scarier costume for the next farm.
He looks a little confused, I think. Anyway, that's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.